Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc, and you are live on October 11th, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Please make sure that you type in below where you are joining me in from around the world. Today, I am just starting yet another technology to see how it works. So I want to see your thoughts and everything. My first question to you this morning, though, is how are you preparing for the holidays? Do you think it's going to be the same or different than last year? Anybody? Yes? Is it going to be better? It's going to be the same? Yeah, don't say it's going to be worse. We got enough of that. Well, I want to. Hey, Stacy, thanks for being the first in. That is fabulous. Thanks so much. I wanted to alert you all before I forget that this Tuesday I am doing a masterclass at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and I will post the link that you can register after this. But basically, I'm going to be covering 5 areas to get ready for the holidays. So one is how are you going to get the most out of omnichannel with BOPUS and curbside and all those other things. What are you going to do with your customers who have to wait outside? I'm going to cover that. I'm going to cover the 6 marketing emails you have to write now and get ready for the holidays. I'm going to tell you exactly what they should say and when you should send them. I'm also going to go through social media, the 3 types of videos you've got to have to convert to sales. You know, it's great to get likes, but I don't give a damn about likes. I care about conversions, baby. The secret to getting your crew to be able to have lower turnover, and then training to sell, the one phrase that I use to double the average number of items, and a lot more. So if you just register, and even if you can't be there with me live, you will get a recording afterwards that you can watch, and you got nothing to lose, and I'm going to announce a bonus at the end. So with that in mind, I hope you will join me this Tuesday at 11 a.m. I know it's the day after a holiday, but that's the way it goes. I'm trying to keep giving you more value. That's what I'm always trying to do. Heidi, I am doing the master class. That's what I'm doing. I'm the one doing the master class. There you go. So don't delay, because there's only so much room in the Zoom room to be able to do that. So Stacy, early shoppers better. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. The October is the new December is what the Booksellers Association is putting out, and I think that's very smart. There's an awful lot of questions around what's your supply line going to look like, and individual communities being locked down, a lot of other things. So the goal is always to get more people to buy early than try to plan all these great promotions in December. By then, it's too late. So that's why I want you to join me this Tuesday, October the 13th at 11 a.m. Eastern. Hey, I'm glad you're here with us, Joanne. Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Alicia. Good morning, Debbie. Debbie, I think it's going to be good, but you're going to have to plan and work hard. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Susan, glad you're here from Parker, Colorado. Leslie, glad you're here. Wilmington, that's great. Leslie, you're up early this morning in Washington State, so I hope it looks a little different. That's what I'm trying to do here, is trying to find a new way to make sure. Let's see if I can drag myself down there a little bit. No, it doesn't look like it. All right. So let's get to your questions, because that's why you are always tuning in. Don't forget, I still need to have your loves and likes and all the other things, and because otherwise the algorithm just doesn't do it. And those of you who have been doing Facebook Lives and have been posting it on social media, you have to notice the same thing I do, which is there's so many sponsored posts in your feed right now that a lot of things aren't being seen. So you better understand what social media how it works, and what it takes to really be able to deliver the goods. Because quite simply, if you don't pay, you're not going to be seen. And I have 18,000, 17,000 followers on Facebook. You know how many people see my average when I ask for questions from you all on a Saturday? Yeah, about 100. And that means 100 in that short period of time. So sometimes I go through and I will boost that. Other times I just have to take my questions from other places. So I got a show for you live. So there you go. Hey, Louis, glad you're there this morning. Roberta, glad you're joining. Alex, all the way from Washington, that's great. I appreciate it. Give me some love. Give me some thumbs up. Hopefully this looks good to you. This should be a higher resolution than I've had on some other platforms. And that's what I'm trying to do, is to figure out what this virtual world is supposed to look like and how it does. What I like about this is I can kind of use these presentation slides to be able to do a deeper dive. And so those of you who are interested sometime, I was toying with the idea of offering, not this week, but maybe doing a critique of some of your live webinars, maybe your live, Yeah, your live videos, maybe one week, and we just go through and look at three of them all together, and you guys can take some tips from it too. It might be an idea to wake it up, baby, because we've been doing this for 3 years, and I want to make sure I keep you engaged. Because while I can answer everything, I'm only answering it to keep you engaged and to give you value. That's all it's about, right? So let's get to our first question today, James. How can I keep staff happy and coming to work? Well, yeah, the secret to that is that people quit managers, not jobs. So just remember to be easy on yourself and them. We're all under a lot of stress. But you know what? You're probably going to snap and you're going to say something wrong. And don't be afraid to apologize. I think so many managers go through and they have their image and they want to stay, strong. And I'm telling you, in this marketplace right now, especially with stressed younger workers, they need to hear that. So if somebody is not doing what you asked or they look off, well, then just ask and be respectful. But don't go through and let somebody who is sulking or hiding behind racks. I mean, some of you have really big stores, some of you have smaller ones. Hit it head on, baby, and say, is there something at home that I need to know about? Because it doesn't seem like yourself today. And then just shut up. That's a hard one for some of us, at least for me. I want to fill that space. It's kind of like when you get to the end of a sale and you're trying to close it. So, would you like a box or a bag? I will literally bite my tongue. Because I know the person that talks loses in that respect. If I talk, I lose. If they talk, I win. So why would I want to go through and jump on it? Same thing when you're talking to employees. So I hope that helps, James, is if you really want to be keeping your staff happy and coming to work, remember it's all about making their day before they're ever going to make a customer's day. Good morning, Robin, all the way from Molly's. And Cheryl, glad you're here from Salem, Connecticut. Not to be confused with Salem, Massachusetts, which is probably having quite a big day, a big weekend, I would imagine. So from Tony, how can I maintain relationships with my best customers despite limited or no browsing in the store? So I got a lot of ideas on that, which I'm going to share on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm not going to just keep giving you everything for free. Register for the darn webinar. It's interesting. I can see, or the masterclass, people who go to the page, and even though I say the exact same things, it's like, oh, I don't want to be able to put my name and email address in there. And it's like, well, what's the point? If you're interested and you want to know and you want to spend some time with me and you want to take my 30 years of retail experience and be able to drive your sales, why wouldn't you? Well, I don't know. Bob probably would want me to do something and change. Yeah, that's kind of why people want to do those kind of things. We want to change and we want to do it. It's like somebody said on my video last week, because I was trying another platform, why do you have to change? Because I want to learn what the new tools are, and there are new things out there that I am thrilled to be able to do, not the least of which are sound effects, which I think totally rock. I'm just saying. I like sound effects. Not to be confused with tooting my own horn. All right, so my one idea for you, Tony, to get back to your question because you're waiting, is you said your best customers. Your best customers. A handwritten note goes a long way. We are all like little Opie at, the Wells Fargo wagon? Music Man. Waiting for something to take us out of another Zoom call or take us out of another, thing that we have to be. We're all juggling 500 things at once. A handwritten note right now will stand out in your best customer's mind better than any possible thing you could do. Doesn't need and here's 10% off. Here's our friends. No. A handwritten note. And what I always do, the secret to making handwritten notes is if you're going to say something like, I want to thank you for, and then say something specific. And that's if you said their best customers, I want to thank you for always supporting our whatever your charity drive is. I can count on you, or something specific, and then write it out. Get a pad of paper, even a Post-it, write it all the way out, and then make sure you're reading that and writing so that you don't screw up. Because I sometimes would just wing it, and then I realize like, oh, I've got so much that we have in common that I haven't really gotten to the final part of it yet. So that would be my suggestion for you. Again, handwritten notes go a long way right now. But that's work, Bob. I know. And how many of your competitors are doing? I can guarantee you 0. How many online retailers are doing that? 0. How many direct-to-consumer brands are doing that? Zero. How many big boxes are doing it? Zero. Yeah, I know, but it's kind of hard. It's all kind of hard. And if you don't want it to be hard, then don't be in business for yourself or work in retail. And but I can guarantee you, there's nothing that isn't hard if that's your attitude around it, right? I am looking at trying to find all these different tools, and I find myself saying that for a minute, and I'm like, but let's look at the other side. How cool will it be when I've mastered it, right? So I hope that helps. Roberta Brighton taught us that years ago. They are still so nice to send and receive. Oh, there you go. Sense of humor added. I hope so. Susan, I say a bowl for now or a bag for later. 100 times. Oh, wow, that's great, Susan. I love that for the for candy. That's great. A bowl for now or a bag for later. 100 times while we up our caramel apples. That's great. By the way, your dog looks exactly like my dearly departed hound, Hallie Mae, who left this planet a couple years ago. I thought she was always a Harrier hound, but she was a treeing walker coon hound that was a rescue girl. So great shot of her. Is that a bad idea? Confused. You'll have to write what the bad idea is, because I think I said the right idea is a handwritten note goes a long way. So there you go. But type it in, Susan. All right, Shella. I had a customer who must have had a misunderstanding with an employee. Whoops, gotta show you the fancy. There it is. So the story goes, I had a customer who must have had a misunderstanding with an employee where he thought my employee said his child was not allowed to touch anything in the shop. He made a rude comment while his mask was down and said, "What? We're paying customers. If we're buying, we could do anything we want." My employee spoke up and said, "I hate to sound rude. Okay, I just have to tell you that anytime you start something like that, it can't lead to something good. So if you feel like that's about what you took out of your mouth, just realize like, oh, we might be crossing a line here. So all right." So he says, "I hate," or the employee, I'm not sure, man or woman, "I hate to sound rude, but you need to keep your mask on at all times, and your child is free to play with things, but she can't really put things in her mouth due to COVID." Well, as expected, the customer said, "We lost a sale and left upset. How can my employees handle miscommunication and rude customers without being walked on while still giving good service? Is it appropriate for my employees to stand up for themselves when customers are clearly being rude?" You're not going to want to hear what I have to say on this, but I always start off with, I think your employee made that whole thing happen. The miscommunication starts when whatever they said got us into this. It's kind of like if you ever were a little kid and you played baseball and or you've seen it where they grab the baseball and whoever gets to the top is trying to get the top and then they dominate the other person. That's kind of what that's like. So somehow they said something that started the game, and then the customer said this, and then they said this, and then to trump that, the other person put their hand on top of it. Well, you lost the sale. So just remember, you start from the point, I need an employee to be encouraging and welcoming. That's what we need. And if the shopper misunderstood that, then I would unpack it. But, people are scared enough to come into a store. We don't need somebody who is, and you better do this and she better not. That's just not fun. And I'm sure I'll get blowback on that. I'm sure people will say, well, we have to. Yeah, but just realize that if that's your attitude, oh my God, the mask is down for a minute. I get it. I wear a mask. I'm in New York. I take it all very seriously. I get it. However, if that is the main focus, don't, and your daughter, and I think you're going to have a tough holiday because people talk around that. And I don't think it's a great experience. So I would always go back and default to, what did they do to get us into that situation? It's not unlike the person who, I think it was a boutique who told the story a while ago. I think it was in my first book, You Could Compete. And the woman says, I want to have 3 weeks off. I have a date. I want to have that night off. And the manager goes, "Oh, okay, that's fine." Well, the time comes the week before, and the district manager's coming, and so the manager leaves all these things for an employee to do. Okay, tonight you need to do this. Well, they were busy and they didn't get it done. So the next morning the manager comes in and she has to do it all herself. So she puts out the schedule that day, and lo and behold, the employee who had the night off has to work. So she comes to the manager. Hey, I told you I had that day off. Well, we were so busy and we had to get everything done. We have this big shipment coming in and you need to work. And we start getting into this power struggle. So it happens with employees, it can happen with customers, but it doesn't help anybody once you get in that kind of the baseball. I just watched the Yankees lose, so baseball's my analogy today. So just be careful that we're all trying to get to that top place, and I think whether it's customers or employees, that's really tough. Let's see. Leslie, customers shop with you because of the relationship they have with you. We send a note and a little gift in October thanking them for their continued support. We're always here to help. Yeah, try to be even more specific, Leslie. Like, we're always here to help with your holiday gift list. If there was one more thing you knew, I think you could add, I think that would be fabulous. When I was on commission, I had my kids sign the thank you cards because the high rollers helped pay for Christmas. It was pretty awesome using emotions like that. Oh, that's fun, Justin. I like that. Good. Roberta, what should she have done? I need a little more information, Roberta. What should the manager have? What should the employee have done? I think at that point, if they say you just lost a sale, that's where the manager would have walked right in and said, I'm so sorry, there must be some misunderstanding. The training you would have done with your employee is there to say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. I think I would probably be best just to exit the situation, and the manager could talk and try to save the sale. I have actually walked out of my stores and chased people. I wouldn't say chased, but I've actually gone to find customers in malls and apologize to them for the treatment they got and actually roped them back in and made big sales, because it's not about ego. All I care about is making the sale. Did that encounter help us make a sale or not? That's the litmus test. And if it didn't, then the work is on who? It's on you, because how did they possibly get that far? Does that make sense? Hey, Jay, I'm glad you're here from London. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I don't believe in, I appreciate that may be easy, but I am not doing, there is no, if a computer generates a handwritten note, it's not really a handwritten note though, is it? So there you go. Okay, Roberta, I've answered your question. Good. All right. Jay, sustainability seems to be a key element going forward in terms of saving the planet. How important is it we start to filter this into our business? Jay, I think since you're from London and it's later in the day, I will answer that. Everywhere we're hearing sustainability is big. Why? For Gen Z and millennials in particular. Saving the planet, saving other people, more diverse, more equal. That is and how are you contributing or taking away from that? That is big issues for them. So make sure that you are looking at it. Am I going to be putting it on my front page and say, we're a sustainable business and it's sustainable? I probably wouldn't, because no one is coming to you for sustainability. Well, someone's going to call me wrong, but they're coming there to get their needs met. They're coming there to get the widget. They're coming there to find this thing. And by the way, as you're talking to them about it, you can show it's sustainable. You could talk about what you're doing to save the planet, etc. But it's kind of like shop local, and I'm sure I'll get some blowback on this. Saying to shop local to me is like saying put up with our bad service because we're local. And I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. If you are a great service, I will come back to you over and over again. But if you're going to say buy local, then by gosh, you better be better than anybody else, head and shoulders. And that includes handwritten notes, that includes finding new ways to connect, that includes all kinds of things, training employees because they are the next generation of consumers and you're teaching them all of the things about how retail and business works. So there you go. And that brings me to I actually got a little love on that one. Well, great. Give me some more love. Give me some thumbs up, because I am going a little long here today. But I want to tell you about one more thing today. This is a big week because we are going to start another Sales RX Sprint. We've just completed our 5-week sales comeback sprint, which was in August, and our crew, we didn't lose anybody. They're all still doing, and they are loving the experience. We actually just had our last meeting on Friday, and they are rolling the training out. Now we are focusing on a shorter sprint where we start for this Friday. You'll sign up for Sales RX. The procedures, you'll sign up for $1, and then your regular subscription will start on Thursday. But you will meet with me and our Director of Customer Experience every Friday for 3 weeks, where we only focus on the seasonal course. Because quite simply, a lot of people go through and they say, we're hiring all these part-timers, and Sales RX is kind of like a university of sales. It takes about 3 months to get the average person. Don't you have anything smaller? We do. It's called the seasonal associate training, and that takes you about 4 or 5 weeks. And we're going to unpack it with you. We're going to be there for you. And even our existing Sales RX clients, they can join in on that one too. But the goal is just to get your crew trained before Thanksgiving, because make no mistake, it's going to be a holiday like never before. I fully believe we are going to be on the cusp of new hedonism, where the best and brightest are going to sell. They're going to sell out. Your crew, though, is going to want to sell what's cheap and whatever they saw online and whatever Prime Day is doing and blah, 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 blah. And if you don't get ahead of this, you are going to be missing it, because I don't care how many social posts you have. I don't care how many live events. I don't care whatever it is. All I care about is you have to sell enough product to live the life you want to live as a business owner. If you can't do that, you're probably expecting the merch can do the job, and I can guarantee you it can't. Unless somebody develops a relationship with a human being, they won't develop the relationship between that customer and the merchandise. And the merch just can't do it all on its own. So I hope you'll join me for that. And you'll see in my Facebook feed after Tuesday, you'll see the registrations for that as well. Jay, is the Sales RX program set up for managing sales performance? It is online training, so it's basically Bob in a box where I walk you through exactly what they need to know for seasonal workers. Let's get back to your questions. I have 2 more left. Steve, do you have any ideas for how to do our usual customer holiday events? Our goal is to be memorable and sell the merch. Well, I'll talk about this when? Oh, right, Tuesday at 11 a.m. So one thing you can do is to hold a webinar that's educational. So cosmetics companies are doing this really well, but anything that you can say how to is going to probably be shared if it's broad enough. So think about those kind of things, an educational event. Number 2 is take a product and unpack who would this be a great gift for. So whatever it's going to be, please don't choose the cheapest thing that you can find, although I love this for a training prop. I'm just saying I love the fact that it works. Take something and then maybe the 5 things to give to a boss this holiday season, and then unpack. This would be perfect for boom, boom, boom. And then you could also have a paid invite for your best customers. And here's the secret. Okay, here's the secret. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here's the secret to making that work. It's a paid event, right? So you're going to go through and you're going to use Uber Eats or DoorDash or something, and you're going to either send them coffee or even a cocktail kit and surprise them the day of, and then you're going to have this meeting where you're virtually hooking up and you are having fun. And that's the key to making events. We have got to be more creative and think about those kind of ways to engage somebody in a new way. That's what it's about. So there you go. I need one of those, Roberta. I know, exactly. Well, let's get to your last question here. Stuart asks, by the way, don't forget, I still need your love, and I still need your thumbs up. Otherwise, Facebook just makes it almost impossible to reach all 17,000 of you. Stuart asks, how do I engage our staff to want to use new selling tips? Well, back to the Yankees there, Stuart. I was watching the final game. Unfortunately, the Yanks, spoiler alert, we had a tough final inning that we didn't go well. And the announcers were talking about Luke Voit. And Luke Voit is a superstar of hitters on the Yankees this year, and he's been doing more home runs than anybody else. And they said all he had to do was, he worked with a batting coach, and he had to hold on to the bat just a little bit longer. And they showed, here's what he was like last year, and here's what he was like this year. And so for him, a batting tip really worked, right? But if I gave a batting tip like that to someone that doesn't know the game or doesn't know how to bat or hasn't really played it, tips are worthless, and selling tips are the exact same. Yeah, I can give you a million selling tips, but if you don't have a process of how the system works, if you don't know, like in a movie, I could give you a tip on how to make a great movie, but if you don't know what has to happen where we meet the character and the conflict and what has to happen, if you don't have that basic structure down and you haven't written it so that we give a damn about the characters, then it doesn't matter what the tip is, it doesn't work. So I would encourage you, Stuart, sign up for the the fall holiday sprint, which I'll put both links here so that you guys can go, because we're limiting it down to just 20 people for this Friday as well. We have 500 available for our Tuesday event, but there you go. So if you have a process, Stuart, like Sales RX, but there's, as long as you have a process, I think selling tips can work. And then you have to ask yourself, is it a will issue or a skill issue? Are you asking them to do something where it's, do you want fries with that? Do you want fries with that? That's not a selling tip, by the way. That's just parroting. And they're not doing it, then you say, well, is it a will issue or a skill issue? Do they really know when they're supposed to do what you're teaching? Or do they know and they just don't want to do it? So if they just don't want to do it, that's a will issue, and that's a much bigger deal. That kind of goes back to what we said earlier about the employee who, wants to be right instead of wants to be welcoming. So I hope that helps. So Carol, go Astros. Cheaters! I just had to say that, Carol. All right, so in any event, my goal is for you to come into this holiday season feeling renewed, feeling excited, feeling ready to change the world, because we still can do that. We just have to remind ourselves that we have to make somebody else's day before they're going to make our day, and that's the key. So I hope you'll join me on the holiday webinar. That's this Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I hope you'll sign up for the Sales RX Sprint. Yeah, it costs you $1 to get in the sprint. Then on Friday we'll charge you $3.90, and that's your first month for up to 5 users. And then you can add users. It's $195 after that, and I can explain all that at some point. But my goal is to remember, the media is not going to tell you it's going to get easier. We're about to come through a very fractious election in the United States, and half the people aren't going to be happy about it. But we have to find a way to say, they're all worthy of our time, and our goal is to be welcoming, even if I have to make people wait on a sidewalk or to hang out differently, and I've got to find new tools. Let's do it together, and let's just remember, you don't have the luxury of a bad thought. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Thanks for joining me today. If you like what I had to say, you could certainly tell your friends. You can go through and share it, do any number of things, but most importantly, I hope you remember, as a boss, it all begins and ends with you. Your attitude about how we're going to get through this, it's going to make all the difference. Again, I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday morning. Thanks.